A very good evening and a warm welcome to our first edition of UBC News Tonight on this 18th day of May 2023. I'm Lauryn Masika Kazimoto and Elizabeth Nakakoni on sign language interpretation. Now we start off with our first headlining story this evening. Uganda joined the rest of the world to celebrate the 2023 International Museum Day at the Kaunda Playground in Gulu District. Uganda's Vice President, Major Retired Jessica Lupo, represented President Yoweri Museveni. We have the details.
Yoweri Museveni has committed government support in form of infrastructure to northern Uganda to improve the tourism centers that are rich on ancient and archaeological information.
Uganda stands alone as a beautiful country endowed with diverse natural and cultural heritage. In northern Uganda, there are several tourism sites like Fort Patiko, Murchison Falls National Park, Aru Falls, Turu Falls, and Kabalega Muanga sites, which, with rich ancient historical and archaeological information, to be packaged for tourism development. Government has now prioritized the development of supportive infrastructure to catalyze investments and the development of these sites. I equally urge you to put educational recreation services in all museums located in the entire region. This way, we shall make our country attractive, not only to international tourists, but also to domestic tourists.
This was during the 2023 International Museum Day celebrations hosted at Kaunda Ground in Gulu. On the theme of museums, sustainability and well-being, with a Vice President, a Major Retired Jessica Lupo, representing President Yoweri Museveni.
The theme of this year resonates well with the global framework of Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. The Uganda Vision 2040 is also anchored on this, and it seeks to accelerate the socio-economic transformation of our society by providing household incomes to the population, youth employment, wealth creation and industrialization for inclusive growth.
Though the Uganda National Museum in Kampala is the most renowned, government through legislation is ensuring many others sprout across the country.
Section 15.1 specifically provides for the establishment of city, regional and district museums in Uganda. Therefore, our purpose for celebrating this year's International Museums Day in Gulu City is to lay the foundation for cities in Uganda to embrace developing museums as products for cultural tourism attraction. The Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities vision is to develop sustainable tourism, wildlife and cultural heritage resources so as to contribute to the socio-economic transformation of Uganda society from a peasant to a modern and prosperous one.
The International Museum Day celebrations were punctuated by awards to several schools that excelled in the museum quiz.
Gulu, congratulations.
The dictionary defines a museum as a building in which objects of historical, scientific, artistic, or cultural interest are stored and exhibited.
The body of the late Private Wilson Sabiti, who murdered the Minister of Labour Charles Ngola before turning the gun against himself, will be handed to the family once investigations are concluded. The UPDF spokesperson, Brigadier General Felix Kulaije, appealed to the family of Sabiti to be patient until the Commission of Inquiry, which was set to investigate the case, concludes investigations.
Uganda People's Defence Forces has said that the body of the late Private Wilson Sabiti, a UPDF soldier who shot dead the Minister for Labour Charles Ngola before turning the gun against himself, will be given to his family once the investigations are done.
When somebody commits a crime of murder, the investigations are more serious than any other. And not only here, but once the person is treated as a criminal, the investigative authorities may not release the body for burial. And that's the whole essence of police taking over a dead body of a civilian. Now in the army, we have a person who committed murder and then killed himself. The Board of Inquiry is still investigating the circumstances, the cause, and so they may wish to do even more examination on the body. They may. I'm trying to think reason why they have not released the body to ask for burial. The body is in Ibombo, mortuary, and when the investigators think they are satisfied, we can have the body, they will release it for the army to move it to the home.
UPDF spokesperson Brigadier General Felix Kulaije in an interview with UBC explained that the Commission of Inquiry, which was set up to investigate circumstances under which Private Wilson Sabiti, a bodyguard to the late Minister of Labour, murdered his boss,
have all the reasons to be sad, to be sorrowful, to demand this body, but there are also realities of life. These realities of life cannot be ignored. That yes, once your person has committed a crime, then the status of that individual changes. It's not your family alone now, it's a national question. And that is why when you are in court, it's Uganda versus Felix. It's Uganda versus John, not versus your family or the individual. So when you hear the state has taken over, it means your status has changed. So I beg the family to be patient. We are not witches that there is something we are doing on that body. It's the investigators that are stuck on the body for professional reasons.
Uganda People's Defence Forces Act 2005 regulates the conduct of soldiers in public and handling of firearms.
Even when you come, the procedure is that you sign for your gun from the armory and you register your name, your service number, and the number of rounds you have taken. 2, we have supervision from corporal all the way to the colonel who is the commander of the brigade, the battalion. The difference may be in the execution of these roles we play. 1, 2, the man's heart is unpredictable. I may be your commander, you are saluting, you are going about your duties, but you had a quarrel with a fellow young man over a girl. Before we know it, you have killed.
Sada Mubale, Stephen Kalisha, UBC News, Kampala.
Now, Parliament has passed the budget for financial year 2023-2024, projected at a cost of 52.74 trillion shillings. The budget aims at fully monetizing Uganda's economy through commercial agriculture, among other interventions. Government maintains an optimistic stand that the economy is to grow at a rate of 6% in the next financial year, following an expected decline in inflation, implementation of PDM, and increased oil and gas activities, among others. The long session was chaired by Speaker of Parliament, Anita Among.
It is a sigh of relief as Parliament passes the budget estimates for financial year 2023-2024.
We prepared this budget in a high constrained environment, and only priorities that fit within the available resources will be financed as appropriated by Parliament.
The projected budget has increased to 52.74 trillion in the financial year 2023-2024 compared to the current financial year of 48.13 trillion shillings. Government expects a growth in GDP of up to 206.54 billion in respect to the GDP per capita of up to $1,282, linked to the current $1,093.
If we want to collect more, we must demonstrate to the taxpayers that as they pay more taxes, we have a return towards them in form of services.
Thank you.
33 billion additional is a starting point, but it's meager. You have the non-aligned movement where you're going to host over 90 leaders.
The Budget Committee of Parliament reports that in the current financial year 2022-2023, despite Uganda increasing its export base in the East African community states, there is more deficit as the country is losing a lot of foreign exchange as a result of too many imports from the rest of the world.
Major deficits were registered in VAT on imported salt, imported iron, steel, imported vehicle and spare parts, petroleum duty on diesel, excise duty on undenatured ethylene alcohol.
Points to note is that the unrestricted resource envelope decreased despite increment in the budget after the available funds capture a figure of 25.16 trillion in the next financial year 2023-2024. This has been attributed to, among others, increase in interest payments, Bank of Uganda reimbursements, and Bank of Uganda recapitalization, which stands at 217.1 billion. Nevertheless, the economy is expected to grow at an average rate of 6% in the financial year 2023-2024, up from 5% in the current financial year.
On account of increased oil and gas activities, production from implementation of parish development model, regional trade, and the positive impact of the continued recovery in regional and global economies. I wish to reassure this August House that the economy is on a progressive trajectory to achieve an average of at least 6% in the period of 22-23 to 24-25.
Colleagues, I would like to wash the doubts. The parish development model is a baby. It has just started this financial year. It has to go through a learning curve, but the expected outcomes are very positive.
Peace and security under the Security and Governance Program has topped the priority in the program-built budget, followed by road maintenance of both tarmac and Baram and electricity construction, among others.
There is also funding which is being given for encouraging industrialization processing. It's there. It may not be adequate, but it's there. There is provision for medical services. We saw it, but of course we are arguing that they should increase the amount of money.
The Butambala County MP Mwanga Chivumbi presented the committee's minority report citing wasteful resources in a disguise of classified expenditure. Although Chivumbi's report caught the attention of the House, few deliberations succeeded on its purpose.
Even if government was to facilitate the establishment of a pharmaceutical facility, the US $1 billion is a high scale for such a facility. Right, honorable colleagues, we've noted with concern that both in the first crew gender, second crew gender, and the budget allocation, still there is no money for the medical interns.
As a ministry, we have already prepared and we are ready to deploy the 1,091 in our 51 sites of deployment.
The minority also decries government continuous funding for the MDAs, which have not complied with the mandatory submission of respective budgets to Parliament. Parliament later, after passing the budget, processed the Appropriation Bill 2023 of an estimate of about 31.263 trillion. Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gwitabingi, UBC News.
The management of Uganda Broadcasting Corporation through the Office of the Human Resource has appreciated staff for turning up in good numbers to get validated by the Office of the Auditor General. The Human Resource UBC, Flavia Nalubowa, says the exercise is on course and will be rolled out to upcountry staff soon.
Uganda Broadcasting Corporation staff have undergone a headcount as per government program of validating all public servants across ministries and government agencies. The exercise for validating UBC staff began this Thursday at the National Broadcasters' head offices at Nile Avenue, Kampala. The exercise is being conducted by auditors from the Office of the Auditor General. These are capturing employees' biometric payroll record and matching documents like the National Identification System, among other identification documents. Uganda Broadcasting Corporation Human Resource Officer Flavia Nalubowa says they have started with the television department and will roll to other departments, then moved up country.
For UBC are complying, and so far so good. We have started with the headquarters. And after this, in about 4 or 5 days, we shall be moving to the upcountry stations and we shall all be covered. The exercise is being done per department. We have started with the TVs, UBC TV and Star TV, and the rest shall follow.
Chimba Ronald is the manager, UBC Television.
Response from staff was so good. They were asking for academic documents, your academic documents, contract letter, national ID, or copy of national ID, and your work ID. So they wanted to find out whether you are a true worker of the corporation. But by and large, the process has been so successful.
The validation or headcount exercise of all civil servants is aimed at cleaning the government payroll and also establish the factors affecting the credibility and efficiency of the government wages, pension and gratuity management processes. I'm Nafka Farida and Dan Lugemwa in Kampala.
Now, the stepmother in Bukedia district who is accused of severe attack on her teenager is to appear in the courts of law. Helen Among is allegedly beat Scholastica Acham to the point of unconsciousness for stopping her younger sister from tearing her books. We have the details.
Police in Bukedia district has rearrested a woman who is accused of severely attacking her stepchild. Helen Among is said to have accused Scholastica Acham for beating her daughter who was tearing her books. The chairperson of Kokwech village, Sam Oboi, disclosed that Among used a mingling stick and repeatedly assaulted the young girl while sitting on her body. Among also kicked and punched Acham multiple times until she lost consciousness. Oboi reported the incident to the police, leading to the arrest and subsequent detention of Among at Malera police station for over a week. Later, she was transferred to Bukedia Central Police Station and granted a police bond on 22nd of March 2023. But Acham's condition has been deteriorating because she doesn't have access to specialized treatment, which requires over 12 million shillings. The Bukedia District Police Commander Charles Okoto confirms that Among was rearrested once the detectives completed their inquiries.
She was on bond. The family had come up and trying to negotiate this matter. The family of the suspect and the family, the parents of the girl, did not wish to proceed to court on this matter because they were neighbors, and the issue that brought the beating of such a girl was because the other beat the other younger one. So they thought they would negotiate it out of court. Not until I've told OCCID, no, cancel that negotiation, let it go to court. So it went appear on charges of grievous harm.
Due to her condition, Acham now relies on stretchers to move within her room and occasionally to the veranda for some sunshine. Joseph Oko, UBC.
Now, government has been urged to engage non-government organizations in the fight against environment degradation, which is on the rise in the country. This call was made at a launch of the 5th Judicial Training on how to handle and deliver climate justice held at Mistil Hotel in Kampala.
Approximately 41% of the Uganda's total natural resources are degraded by the community for settlement, industrialization, agriculture, among others. Currently, the country is experiencing landslides, heavy rains and floods due to the continuous encroachment on wetlands and woodlands. It's against this backdrop that Green March has launched the 5th Judicial Training on Climate to fight against encroachment on the environment. The Director Green March, Samantha Tukunda, highlights the aims of the training to the judicial officials and the public and urged government agencies to engage stakeholders in the campaign against environment degradation.
Several disputes are being brought up in court concerning different environmental challenges and violations, so it's important to have a judiciary that is knowledgeable and equipped when it comes to climate aspects, in particular climate justice. Not only just government, civil society organizations as well as government agencies, to see how we can come together with one voice, with one mind, aligned to fight for the protection and conservation of the environment.
Patrick Byakagaba, a researcher from Makerere University, says some agencies issue illegal licenses to investors, especially in the wetland, which is a threat to the environment.
And the fact that we have many components of the environment, we can't afford to only think that NEMA will ensure that there's compliance to all the environmental laws that we have. So I argue that we need to have what we call a whole of government approach in managing our environment, meaning all the agencies whose decisions could in one way or the other affect the environment need to work together to make sure that we contribute to this collective of environmental sustainability. But similarly, we should be able to hold accountable every organization or agency for their actions. In the event that their actions in a way affect the integrity of our environment, we should be able to hold them accountable to make sure that we enhance or improve our compliance.
Although NEMA is working hard to protect the environment, there are still existing gaps, as Byakagaba explains.
If NEMA approved sand mining, and we can prove scientifically that it's going to affect the integrity of that ecosystem, where do we run to hold NEMA accountable for approving an Asia report that is not fair? But also compliance. If they approve an Asia report, where do we go in case the proponent or the developer is not implementing?
The 52-day judicial training is under the theme, Advancing Climate Justice, looking at the role of the judiciary. In attendance was the Executive Director, Judicial Training Institute, Lady Justice Damali Rwanga, Justice Margaret Mutonyi, among others. Susan Nabugudde, Natongo Rebecca compiled the story.
Uganda is looking forward to increasing meat and dairy products on both local and international market. About 3.2 billion litres of fuel are set to be produced by 2025-2026, up from 2.7 billion litres in 2019-2020 financial year. State Minister for Agriculture, Fred Chakulaga, was speaking during the Asareka conference, where National Agricultural Research Organization is exhibiting farming potentials for Africans to benchmark.
These exhibitions are from the various entities falling under National Agriculture Research Organization, NARO. They are showcasing Uganda's potential in crop and animal farming research. To take us through what transpires at National Agricultural Research Laboratories is Joyce Adokorach.
We do not just keep these jumpers in storage like that. We work together with the farmers, the farming community, through establishing community seed banks.
Adokorach is explaining how seeds are bred with protection of indigenous categories for future production.
The Uganda National Gene Bank actually is supposed to act as the Noah's Ark for Uganda to ensure that plant genetic resources of Uganda is conserved, especially the indigenous varieties.
All these exhibitions, including those of fisheries, coffee and livestock institutes, are in line with the ongoing Asareka conference in Munyonyo.
So that we can be able to produce fish and sustain provision of the highly needed protein amongst the population in Uganda.
We are trying to show you the different feed resources we have, which we feed to our animals. We have the legumes, we have the grasses, and also we have the multi-purpose trees.
This is the exact basis for Uganda to aim higher in terms of dairy and beef production. Freddy Wino Chakuraga is the state minister in charge of agriculture.
We are targeting to increase dairy production from 2.7 billion liters of milk as of 2019-2020 financial year to 3.2 billion liters by 2025-2026.
This was part of his message to the hundreds of participants in the Asareka conference. They agree to the fact that Africa needs to speak with one voice in promoting food security.
So how do we support these countries whom the donors don't go to? It is the membership contribution that we put together to mimic what the donors are doing in these other countries, in those other countries, so that there's a benefit to all.
It's rather shameful that in spite of the immense agricultural potentials we have on the continent, at least 1/4 of the 1.2 billion of our people are still going, hungry.
As for National Agriculture Research Organization, NARO, it is work in progress to ensure sustainable food production.
We are concerning ourselves with having very high yielding, resistant and drought resilient crop varieties. We are concerning ourselves with coming up with livestock, breeds and production systems that can help the farmers to be able to grow even amidst challenges of such environment.
The conference is being held under the theme, Building a Resilient Food System to Feed Africa for Generations. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Uganda produces an estimated 24,000 metric tons of honey, of which only 14,000 metric tons is sold on the market, earning the country at least $38.4 million. The country, however, has the potential to produce at least 500,000 metric tons of honey that can enable it take advantage of the international deficit that now stands at 3.6 million metric tons annually. It is for this reason that Uganda is this Saturday, the 20th of May, observing the International Bee Day under the theme Be Engaged, celebrating the diversity of bees and beekeeping systems at Namulonge Agricultural Research Center.
The honey industry contributes close to $38.4 million to the Uganda's gross domestic product. Bees provide at least 720 metric tons of beeswax, generating about $5.2 million. 5,000 liters of propolis tincture, generating $320,000. Beef venom, 150,000 liters of honey. Wine, generating about $900,000 annually.
I'm able to harvest at least 5 jerrycans per season, and this jerrycan is 36 kilograms. You see, the demand of honey is very high than production everywhere.
Uganda's bee products are mainly exported to East African countries, Democratic Republic of Congo, Sudan, United States of America, Germany, Japan, and Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and in the European Union market, as Uganda prepares to mark the International Bee Day, set for the 20th of May, under the theme Be Engaged, celebrating the diversity of bees and beekeeping systems. It should be noted that bees are critical for food security as their pollination factor increases food yields by 30%.
As I keep bees, I profit from your agriculture. Indirectly, you will not be knowing, but you also benefit from me because you also be pollinating your crops. So all of us, we stay friendly, helping in each other in an indirect manner.
Uganda produces 24,000 metric tons from over 1.2 million people engaged in beekeeping, producing honey and other beehive products. There are over 100 farmers' organizations and private companies dealing in beehive products trade.
I began with traditional hives. This is made out of our local material. Slowly, I graduated to these wooden structures. I went again from the traditional beehives. I went to KTB, Kenya Top Bar. Then from Kenya Top Bar, I've now graduated to Langstroth, which is a more modern beehive.
Beekeeping is an important occupation which provides livelihood to millions of people in addition to promoting sustainability, improving agriculture, regenerating forests, ensuring survival of many plants and their reproduction, among others.
Because I've got other activities on a small piece of land, I have about 5 acres, but my agriculture, all of it is feeding there. I've got some animals, feeding animals, my crop is there, and also my beekeeping is there. My small son also now is putting their pond on the same 5 acres of land.
Too much rain, parasites in addition to malicious destruction of beehives, inadequate funding for the beekeeping industry, scattered individual producers among others, are affecting Uganda's potential to produce at least 500,000 metric tons of honey.
So they can't suffocate because there will be enough air coming inside. It's very suitable. The session is after Gata, a Hatine home, so they will feel very happy in their home.
The Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries is to embark on residue monitoring of products from bees, including honey, to look out for inorganic pesticides and heavy metals said to be in bee products to maintain the quality of bee products for a better market. Clearing of natural vegetation and poor use of agrochemicals are some of the threats to the continuous production of bees, because forests act as homes for bees but also act as a hub for other plants needed by the bees. Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Jerry con. Jerry con. Hey, Master Blaster. Touch him, man. Bang Jerry con with muscle. Those ones who say go for you only. Mundava. First group is I teach you. But never go to which the muscali. Because of the cover is very far. Is you serious? It's just you. What? Yeah? You stay put on it. Add kilometers to your legs, and you get your sugar. We buy meat from Umaru, and Umaru refused to give you enough meat. Mama! Show him that they don't joke with you. Umaru, Jerry car.
Okukakaluka n'okulungi kwetaagako omuntu akuyambako, n'olwekyo tujja kukuteerawo embeera esaanidde osobole okukola ekisinga awamu teri kitulema.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
She is the future of Uganda. And as a policy maker, the policies I enact today
will protect her from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. We each have a role to play in empowering our teenage girls to protect them from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. Because when we empower them, we empower our nation. Protect the girl, save the nation.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sauti 116.
This is the University of Africa. On the streets, you get your real education. Here, everybody has a degree of something. But the most important qualification is imagination. Her reason to imagine is slay. His reason is to be the GOAT. Theirs is to take the beat and make it lit. They want to test edgy till it is fire. Their reason for imagination is to add riz in style. Her reason to imagine is finesse. And hers is to find what's new and bussin'. So no matter what your situation, just use your imagination.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Mbara and Jinja.
Where does it come from? That thing that makes us Ugandan. That thing that makes us different from everybody else. Where does it grow infinitely? Some say it's in our history, in our culture, and in our hearts, in our warm smiles and vast miles of coffee, dairy farmland, and amazing maize fields. It's in our inherent pursuit to always be better, to never stop growing and glowing. So you see, we are more than just a waving flag. We are a nation of sweat and skills, a nation of ideas and inventions. But what truly makes us Ugandan is our quest to improve the quality of life for Ugandans by creating sustainable jobs, businesses, and improving household incomes. That's what makes us Uganda Development Bank. Uganda Development Bank, inspiring development.
Jerry con! Jerry con! Hey, Master Blaster! Touch him, man! Buy Jerry con with muscle! Those ones who say go is for you only. Mundawa! Best movies I teach you. When I'm going to the school, because of the camera is very far. Is you serious? It's serious you. What? Yeah? You step it on it. Add kilometers to your legs, and you get your sugar. We buy meat from Umaru, and Umaru refuse to give you enough meat. Show him that they don't joke with you. Umaru,
okukakaluka n'okulungi kwetaagako omuntu akuyambako n'olwekyo tujja kukuteerawo embeera esaanidde osobole okukola ekisinga awamu teri kitulema.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Mold Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Mood Technologies, your professional research firm.
Welcome back from that break. Now in more news, the Electoral Commission has unveiled the roadmap for the Oyam North County by-election. The constituency that was occupied by the former Minister for Labour, Employment and Industrial Relations fell vacant after he was shot dead by his personal bodyguard. Now, according to the roadmap launched today, the by-election is scheduled for the 6th of July this year.
As the law requires, when a constituency falls vacant, the position is to be filled within 60 days. On the 2nd of this month, Oyam County lost their legislator after he was gunned down by his personal bodyguard, Wilson Sabiti. After his burial on Saturday, the Electoral Commission has unveiled a roadmap to follow to replace the fallen Labour Minister, retired Colonel Charles Okelengola.
That for us to have a credible, free and fair election, we cannot work in isolation. We need other stakeholders to work with us. That's why we have gone out of our way to invite the chairpersons, LOC1 chairpersons from the 600 plus villages of Oyam North. Why? Because they are key stakeholders. The majority of the voters are in the villages, and the LOC chairpersons play a key role to mobilize these voters to turn up and exercise their right, and also to observe peace and maintain law and order.
According to the roadmap, nomination of candidates to replace the minister will run from 19th to 20th June, and the by-election will be held on the 6th July this year. Addressing stakeholders at Anyeke Church of Uganda in Oyam district, the chairperson, Electoral Commission Simon Biamokama, assured actors of a peaceful process. He urged the security agencies to desist from politics.
Anyone holding a public office is barred or stopped from participating in elections by either campaigning or canvassing for support or fundraising or doing anything to do with elections, particularly in this multi-party dispensation that we are in. So RDCs, we are not saying get out, no, but we are saying act within your mandate as spelled out under the law. And therefore, any RDC who may want to act outside the law will be dealt with according to the law.
Since the demise of the minister, over 6 people have so far shown interest in replacing him. His son, Samuel Ngola Okello, was presented on burial day for endorsement by NRM party, but others, including former ambassador to UK Julius Peter Moto, has also joined the queue. Parties like NUP, UPC and independent candidates have also shown interest in the race. Eddie Olwa, UBC News.
Now, leaders in the Moroto district are worried of increasing attacks on civil servants in the area. This comes after the attack on Atedeoi Primary School, Lotisen Sub-County, Moroto district, which left a teacher and wife to the deputy headmaster, Peter Chepskor, Joy Chebet, dead and her child injured. Police says they have arrested 2 teachers and they are currently admitted at Moroto Regional Referral Hospital. We have more details on this report.
Teachers at Atadao Primary School in Lotisan Sub-County, Moroto District have fled the school after being attacked by suspected Karimejong warriors who shot Chebet Joy, a wife to the deputy head teacher Peter Chepskor, who survived with injuries. Teachers who at the school say they stayed behind for validation, and the incident happened at around 9 p.m. at night.
It's from outside, boom, boom, boom. Then for us, we thought like, Mwalim is fighting with what? With his wife. After a short time, we kept quiet. Kale, our door, the one from the bedroom was open. Madam locked the door. Madam was asking, Madam Rose, what is that?
I know, because actually this subject was made today. This subject was made today. Yes. All of us have not been validated because it is our time today.
Breaking the door, they left. I don't know what happened from there. They shot what? Madam. We heard the Nini Mwalim saying that, my wife is dead, my wife is dead. Mr. Soweko, you come. Everyone was just quiet because people were fearing to come out at that time.
The moment the woman reached there, they shot that one. Of course, Mwalim was saying, when those people came, they found me seated under the veranda. And then he ran inside and locked the door. So the moment he locked the door, those people came straight to the window, banging the window because of the window is glasses. So they broke those glasses. Now that's where they got the access now to shoot the woman.
Teachers have reportedly gone to their home regions of Sebei, Teso among others, despite Moroto Deputy RDC Justin Tukosam and District Police Commander Peter Mugabe assuring them of security.
Still looking for the others. Good enough, they are known. These are people who have not come from somewhere far. They're just from within.
Can't be here for sure.
That we have really capacity to forward the vehicle here to temporarily first maintain the security as we hunt for those others.
Some of them go and rest for some time, then they come back.
Okay.
What was making some teachers to say is the issue of validation, which most of them have already done. But now with this incident here, it is very difficult for one to remain in a compound like this.
Okay.
Police saying 2 teachers were arrested and they are investigating the matter.
She was led by the RPC Mount Moroto. They went to the scene with the canine dog. They introduced the canine to the scene, which led to the arrest of a prime suspect, whom we are going to interrogate and get more information from him, because all our investigation is pinning that is the prime suspect in that murder. However, we also arrested 2 teachers in connection to the same murder.
2 weeks ago, Kidepo Health Center 3 was attacked and health workers narrowly survived death. At the beginning of this month, a nurse was shot dead in Nakapiriperiti, among others.
Science and mathematics teachers in Wakiso and Kalangala districts have gathered at St. Mary's College, Chisubi for a reflective sharing to assess the methods of teaching sciences and the kinds of students to be rolled out. Teachers exchanged ideas on how best to enhance effective professional learning by addressing some of the challenges associated with the new curriculum affecting both learners and teachers.
Over 400 secondary science and mathematics teachers from Wakiso and Kalangala districts have undergone a 1-week training on best teaching techniques associated with new curriculum. The training of secondary science and mathematics teachers program has been undertaken by the Ministry of Education and Sports. The technical supervisor of Sesemat, Musoke Paul, says they have embarked on Central Region teachers training in some challenges they are facing while teaching.
It was observed that there are gaps in the teaching and learning of science and mathematics across the country, which end up leading to poor performance in science and mathematics. So SESEMAT program was brought on board to address such a challenge.
The new curriculum needs research for teachers with skills and knowledge for lesson planning and giving out practical projects to learners and how to assess it.
Sometimes we have condemned children as being slow learners, being dull, being non-performers, simply because we are assessing this academic part of it. And we're not looking at the practical ability of the learners.
And in this particular training, the activities of integration that are being formed are going to actually be tested by the learners sitting those activities of integration in this training.
Akia Mari, the regional trainer at Sesemat Kisubi Center, said they have found out participants have information but do not know how to apply it.
We expect this to be reflected in their classroom setting and appreciation from the students whom they are going to handle, because that's how we evaluate ourselves. When we see this an impact on the learners, what we call the outcome, then we know.
It is not only the science teachers that are facing the challenges in the curriculum, but also the teachers under humanities. If they can also be brought on board.
Sesemat leadership is appealing for more support from the government to incorporate some private teachers or give out some fraction to private-owned schools for effective professional learning.
Most of our teachers have not been absorbed into the labor market, and they're all wishing to be paid by the government because some of the private schools may not be paying them well. So they lose out and they change their mind and go to something else.
Meanwhile, teachers who participated in the capacity building training vowed to put what they have acquired into practice.
I've realized the benefit of encouraging learners to make their own research and also benefit in that way. In fact, it is more of a trend to us teachers and even learners to be job creators.
This is the University of Africa. On the streets, you get your real education. Here, everybody has a degree of something. But the most important qualification is imagination. Her reason to imagine is slay. His reason is to be the GOAT. Theirs is to take the beat and make it lit. They want to test edgy till it is fire. Their reason for imagination is to add riz in style. Her reason to imagine is finesse. And hers is to find what's new and bussin'. So no matter what your situation, just use your imagination.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Bara and Jinja.
Uganda is rich in natural resources and hard-working people. But to turn these resources into real progress and development, we need to invest in our infrastructure, education, and health care. That's where taxes come in. When we pay our taxes, we are investing in our country's future. We are supporting the schools that educate our children, the hospitals that care for our families, and the roads and bridges that connect our communities. And when businesses pay their taxes, they are contributing to the growth and development of Uganda's economy. They are helping to build a stronger, more prosperous nation for us all. So when you pay your taxes, you are investing in the future of Uganda and supporting the progress and development of our nation. Uganda is because of you.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
And now into the world of business. The electricity transmission company has registered a drop in profitability by about 75 billion shillings in the 2021-2022 financial year compared to the 2020-2021 financial year. In the annual general meeting held in Kampala, UETCL management raised the concern of the adverse effects of a free-falling shilling over the dollar, a wildly used currency in its transactions. Crispus Erinatwe has more in this report.
Uganda Electricity Transmission Company registered improvement in business performance for the financial year ended 30th June 2022. According to the audited financial report, the government entity posted a profit of 37.7 billion shillings.
At least we will not be ashamed to say we are shareholders in a company that makes profits. The other issue that needs working with local government regards access to the land where we want to construct our infrastructure as a company. That keeps on coming in almost every report. payment or settlement of PAPs and all that.
The entity believes it could have performed better than 2021 financial year if it were not for adverse foreign exchange losses that wiped out a whopping Uganda shillings 116 billion by the close of the 2022 financial year. Profitability difference between 2022 and 2021 is about Uganda shillings 75 billion, with the shilling often depreciating against the dollar, which is the most widely used currency in international transactions. What strategy is the entity employing in order to enhance profitability and cushion itself from similar occurrences?
If the country, the shilling is supported by high productivity, the shilling will be stable and we will have no impact of foreign exchange losses. But specifically to UETCL as a company, we have other mitigation measures which you would say would be hedging, and specifically what we are going to try and do is to convert some of our borrowings, which are in foreign currency that can be impacted by these foreign exchanges, into UGX borrowing. This has been done by our peers, and we will try and negotiate on this with the Ministry of Finance.
Uganda Electricity Transmission Company Limited also recorded an increase in energy sales from 4,537 gigawatts per hour to 5,055 gigawatts per hour, and revenue increment by 4.3%. Its total assets increased by 10.1%, and completed power projects such as the Opuyo Moroto and Karuma Kawanda transmission lines, among others. Arenato Crispus, Dennis Sigowa for UBC.
Airtel Africa, a leading telecommunications and mobile money services provider in Africa, has launched a new brand campaign called Reason to Imagine. The campaign aims at establishing a deeper emotional connection with Africa's youth and highlight Airtel Africa's role in enabling their dreams and ambitions.
The campaign recognizes the power of imagination as the most valuable qualification in Africa. It showcases Airtel Africa's commitment to harnessing the potential of the youth by delivering relevant solutions that enhance digital and financial inclusion. Airtel Africa believes that empowering the younger generation is transformative for the future of not only Uganda but the entire region.
To bring light by this campaign. Our objective and our purpose as a company is to empower Ugandans, to empower Africans in all the 14 countries that we operate. So every single one of the employees here will actually be introduced to some of the EC members. That is what makes us win every single day.
Through the Reason to Imagine campaign, Airtel Uganda reaffirms its commitment to advancing the progress of Africa's youth by providing connectivity that turns every situation into an opportunity.
Smartphones is about 35% population which has smartphone. That's number one. Second thing, remember, for you to be able to achieve your wildest imagination, you don't have to actually go to the internet. Some people right now, we know that a lot of Ugandans don't have a smartphone. Yes, we are trying to ensure that they have, and they can go to any of our shops, they can be able to get a smartphone, even pay in installments. But at the same time as well, even with your phone, you can be able to connect to the world. Remember, that phone can actually be able to send an SMS, can be able to make a call. You can be able to talk to somebody about anything. It does not matter whether in Najumani, you can talk to somebody in Kampala, and that's how you connect. So, like, for example, the example which was being given for the guy who was selling gumboots during the last event, he just made a call. He didn't need a smartphone. He just made a call.
Relatedly, Airtel Uganda has introduced eSIM, embedded SIM technology, allowing customers to access the same features as with a physical SIM card. The eSIM offers several advantages over traditional SIM cards. It is convenient to set up online, eco-friendly with zero plastic waste and carbon emissions, and enables users to have two numbers without requiring two devices. Users no longer need to worry about damaging or losing their SIM card.
I would request all of you to convert your physical SIM to eSIM. It's an excellent experience. You can just visit our stores. They will help you convert your existing physical SIM to eSIM. Their imagination is profoundly displayed in the enterprising work that they are doing in growing creative industry, ICT, arts, sports, and even agriculture. The youthful customer now needs more than functional products and services. They need a long-term supportive partner.
This initiative is one of many that Airtel Africa has invested in to promote youthful talents and expertise in education, sports and the innovation sectors. Sandra Kahonde, Jamil Sekaja, UBC News.
Well, that wraps it up on UBC News Tonight. Join me at 10 o'clock for our second edition of UBC News Tonight. I'm Lauryn Masika Kazimoto and Elizabeth Nakakoni on sign language interpretation. We'll see you at 10.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Are you tired of high fees and slow transfer time when sending money? Look no